Afternoon, depending on what time of day it is for you. This is Mr. N, and I'm coming at you from my studio, which I call the bunker. And what I want to do today is model for you the very beginning phase of the modified engineering design, and where you begin to identify and define your problem within a topic that you're exploring. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to create a multi-flow map. It's kind of like a mind map, using some of the software available in Google Chrome to explore a topic. So I'm going to jump over here to this handout, which you have available to you in the classroom. You're going to get a copy of this if you haven't already done so. And this is where we're going to create our multi-flow map. You'll create one, and you'll be turning it in at the end of the class today. So I'm going to get started. And I'm actually going to have a separate video, which you may have viewed or maybe not yet, that shows just how to use the software. But for right now, I'm just going to model to you the making this mind map. Okay. So my topic, I think one of the topics that came up in our discussion earlier when we were kind of doing some brief exploring was homelessness. Whoops. And so I want to think about the different aspects of homelessness, and that's what we're doing in this very beginning phase. It's taking a topic and exploring the aspects, thinking of some of the cause-effect relationships within the topic. So one of the things when I was doing some of my early research I read about was one of the issues with homelessness is mental illness. And I think mental illness contributes to homelessness. People who are mentally ill, from what I explored, have a hard time holding down jobs. Sometimes they just don't relate well to other people. And so they don't have a job. They kind of fall out of connection with others and end up finding themselves on the street and homeless. And so that's certainly one of the aspects of homelessness. Another thing I read about that contributes to homelessness is drug addiction. Drug and alcohol addiction. I mean, alcohol is a drug, so as being an issue that relates to homelessness. And so I think that's a contributing factor. Now, actually, if I really think about this, we think cause-effect. I know that drug addiction certainly can cause homelessness, but perhaps people who are homeless might be more prone to becoming addicted to drugs. So it could be a two-way street. You're on the street, literally, and, you're exposed to things that could, being homeless might lead you to drug addiction, or the other way around. But in either case, drug addiction is a pretty big part of homelessness. Certainly, I know that homelessness can result in, unemployment. And again, this is kind of like the drug addiction thing. Does homelessness cause unemployment? Does unemployment cause homelessness? Or is it a two-way relationship? And it's probably a two-way relationship. So I'm going to use this double arrow to show that one aspect of homelessness is, I'm sure there are people who are homeless that have jobs. They may live out of their car, but they're working. And there's certainly people that are in that situation. But a lot of homeless people are unemployed. So now I think with unemployment, problem with unemployment is if you're unemployed, you don't have any money. So I'm going to just put this box over here and no money, or certainly not a lot of money. So being unemployed can result in not having money, and we kind of have a circular connection here because we don't have any money. You might not be able to afford a home, and hence you become homeless. So I see some interconnection here between no money, no job, and homelessness. And of course, if you're addicted to drugs, sometimes you're spending all your drugs or all your money on drugs, so you end up having no money because it's getting spent on drugs. So there's this whole issue. So homeless people certainly, I mean, it's kind of obvious, goes without saying, but lack, food and shelter. And I'm just picking these shapes kind of randomly. I liked the shapes because they're kind of easy to work with. So no food, no shelter, and that's certainly a problem for somebody who's homeless. They got no food, or they may have lack of food, or maybe no food is the right, inadequate food, I probably should say. Inadequate food or shelter. And oops, let me fix that. All right. And so inadequate food, shelter, try to think of things that might contribute to homelessness. Like sometimes people end up homeless because of like literally natural disasters. I mean, a hurricane or a tornado or something, flood, destroys their home, and next thing you know, you got no place to stay. So that's certainly a contributing factor to homelessness is natural disasters. And that's a big problem. So, okay. So now what I have here is I have the general big topic of homelessness, but I can see now there's a lot of different aspects to homelessness and a lot of problems within the bigger problem. And so as you do this, it's going to help you to narrow it down to kind of begin to see areas that you might research further to help you, come up with a kind of solution to the problem, because it's a big problem and there's not one solution and it's multifaceted and there's not one reason. And we can see that now in this organizer that it's a lot bigger than just people living on the street. All right, so you're going to go ahead and make your own mind map, and certainly you want to have fun with it. Use the shapes, and I do have a separate video to show you how to do this. So if you're not really sure how I was getting all these shapes, check out the other video. All right, well, have fun with it, and good luck.